it's your first time on this channel, welcome. It's my first time on the channel, so I feel welcome. This channel is something I wanted to do for a long time. It's a channel just sort of devoted to, I suppose, the joy of painting. I'm not specifically going to tell you how to paint anything. Just more of a thing. Let's sit down half an hour, get some hobby done, paint some miniatures, terrain, make a bit of terrain, sort of do whatever, just sort of chill out, because quite often, painting can be quite a solitary pursuit. Some of us don't sort of live near other people that we can join for painting groups and stuff. So I just thought we could just chill out, paint some minis, have some fun. So tonight I'm going to be painting this guy. He is a Mordheim figure from the GW Mordheim range, like the mid-90s. I've had him on collection for about 20 years, I suppose, and I've just been walking past him day after day with no paint on him. I just thought, well, it's time to just crack him out, wax some paint on him. As you can see, I've sort of already started. He's going to be for my Middenheimer warband. Middenheimers are like a sort of a Viking type of dudes. They have like a blue pant, so I've chucked the blue pant. He was originally a witch hunter, but I really didn't collect enough of that faction to sort of have a full faction of them. So I'm just going to chuck him in with my Midheimers. I'm going to call him Uncle Rolf, or Crazy Rolf. He's been in the city of the damned for a bit too long. He's gone a bit loopy. But yeah, so crack on. So I thought I've base coated the tunic here. I quite like the dark green, so I'm just going to go my base. I'll use the Caliban green for the base, and I'm probably going to use a bit of deep green to lighten it a bit, but I don't want to lighten it up too much because I like that dark green colour. I've done his flesh, but I might do a final highlight of Kislev flesh, and maybe a little bit of a wash in here. You can see he's got a bit of a scar on his face there. So probably maybe one of the reasons he's a little bit off. I use a mix of Citadel and Vallejo paints, mainly because I basically grew up with Citadel paints, 40k, a bit of fantasy, and obviously Mordheim. But recently I've been getting into the Vallejo paints. I don't know why. I think I kind of fell out of love with Citadel paints, especially their metallics. Their gold metallics just weren't really doing it for me. So I think I originally switched to Vallejo for their gold metallics, and I've just sort of collected sort of more and more ever since. But I still use a fair few Citadel paints because they're a decent paint, even though they keep on changing the range every like 5 years. So I get used to one paint and then they change it up, and now it's called something completely different, which is a pain sometimes when you've set it on a colour scheme, like I did with my Nurgle Marines, and then they changed the paints, so I can no longer really do that routine anymore, do that paint anymore, which is a little bit annoying, but that's the way it goes, I suppose. That's why the cookie crumbles. Just obviously trying to keep, obviously those of you who know what you're doing, but if you're new to painting and new to the channel, obviously just basically keeping that highlight on the brightest points where the light would be shining. I usually paint my models as though the light is directly above them, so my highlights would generally be on the tops of the surfaces. Like I said, we're not trying to get this too bright. because I sort of, you know, Mordheim's sort of a dark and dingy sort of a setting, and you know, I suppose it's a bit like the gold rush, you know, a bunch of guys just hanging around. I don't think they really go do laundry day very often. So I imagine their clothes are quite dirty and dingy. As you can see, I've really only highlighting on it to sort of a bony, sort of on the shirt. I left a bit of sort of brown there in the thing. I just put some green on it, which is pretty cool. So obviously get that off. That's a great little mistake. You know, that's all right. So I imagine this stuff's quite dirty and dingy. So I've left quite a bit of brown in the recesses there. Just to sort of, you know, highlight the fact that these dudes are pretty dirty and dingy. Searching for the warp stone. Try not to get eaten by the things that live in the ruins of the city. Trying to boost it up a little bit. Yeah, but not too much. Obviously, keeping your paints thinned is a good way to go about it. Then they go on a bit nice. Sometimes you might have to go over it a little bit, especially with your yellows and stuff. They can be tough to get coverage on. Obviously, colours that have more pigment, darker colours. I'm sorry, I'm off camera there. Darker colours that have more pigment are easier, obviously, to get coverage on. I'm going to leave his little man bag here black, so I'm just going to hit it with a bit of a grey highlight, which I'm just going to use this colour, which is a cold grey from Vallejo, which is the I can't remember what the old GW grey was that I would use for this purpose, but it's a similar sort of colour, and I mainly got this colour because I've been undercoating a lot of stuff grey recently. I used to undercoat everything black, and then I've been using a bit more grey of late because it's a nice mid-tone. You know, you can always darken it, or you can obviously go lighter easier from a grey undercoat than from a black undercoat. So obviously just pick up those areas that you would imagine that the light would be shining on, and you know, you don't have to go overboard, but just basically just picking up those areas. Use the side of the brush, so that looks like you know, light's bouncing off it. I've got a little pin thing there, whatever that is. Chuck a bit on that. I've only just started the channel, but I'll probably set up a Facebook account as well. So if you want to go on there and show me pictures of what you're painting, that'd be sick. I'm always interested in seeing what other people are doing, what they're painting. I'm going to do these like bandages, I guess. I don't know, like lighten them up at least anyway. So I'm just going to use, so basically I've used a bestial brown on these, washed it with Agrex Earthshade, then I'm going to do a bit of scrag brown, just to line it up. I don't know if I'll go all the way to, I might go to like a sort of a browny beige, but they're not like leather or anything, I would imagine, so they're probably going to be more sort of, you know, foot wrappings in any case, which is not going to be good come winter for Uncle Rolf. Anyway, he's tough. Grew up on the fjord. So also the thing with painting is obviously don't be afraid of making a mistake. You can always what I sort of learnt, I was always very sort of wary of painting. I still am. I still get afraid of painting things because I really want it to look good, and I don't know if I have the skill to carry it off. So I still do get kind of stymied a bit, even after roughly 20 years of painting miniatures. But I think one of the greatest things I sort of learnt was that you can paint over a mistake. It's not that, it's like when you're driving a car and you miss your turn. All you got to do is look for a set of lights, at the next intersection, and you turn there and turn around. It's the same sort of thing. If you make a mistake, you can paint over it. You can go back to your base color and work back up to your highlights. If it's a big sort of error, which something I sort of learned. I mean, even you can just go over it again. It depends if it's. I was painting some stormtroopers recently, and that's difficult because you're painting black and white at the same time. Which if you get the black on the white, it's very hard to cover black paint with white paint. It's strangely easier to cover black paint with white paint. I don't know why, but so that can be a bit tricky when you're sort of dealing with those colours. But generally, yeah, if you go back to your base coat, then you can work your way back up to your highlights. I'm taking a bit of paint off on my thumb, as you can see. You don't want to have too much paint on your brush. You don't want to have it too loaded up, as they say. Because otherwise if the things with thinning your paints and not having so much paint on your brush is that if your paints are very thick, you can lose the details on the model and it'll just sort of be all gloopy. And the same with having less paint on your brush sort of gives you more control over where it's going. I'm sorry, this is actually my first video, so hopefully we're going okay. Like I said, this is something I wanted to do for a very long time, and tax came in, so I bought myself a tripod. I do have to apologise for the sound. I'm an Australian, so I'm murdering all the vowels. I'm sorry. Also, this is an old camera that I've had for years, so it doesn't have nowhere to put a microphone into it. So we're basically just going from the sort of external microphone on the camera. So I'm sorry if the sound isn't great. Obviously, we'll work on the quality of the sound in future videos. What am I going to do now? I might do his belt. He's got like a rope belt because he's all class, this bloke. So he's got the sick Gucci rope belt. Obviously it's a mid-90s GW miniature, so like plenty of personality. Some great sculpts, and I mean Mordheim's a great game. Back in the days when a white dwarf was very entertaining. Maybe not so much anymore. Sorry if I'm getting in the way. Please let me know if you're going, this video is not great, you are worst YouTuber, which is probably pretty true. I probably am the worst YouTuber. If you really want to get some good tips on how to paint well, Sarastro, he's very good. I quite often watch his videos to get tips on how to paint things. Actually working on Luke Skywalker for Star Wars Legion. and he did a very good video on how to paint Luke, so I will probably be checking that out to give my Luke a bit of a go. So he's quite good for sort of teaching how to paint. His videos are very, very good, so just check out Sarastro. I like this dude. He's got like a, I don't know, like a Dumbledore-esque sort of beard and hair. Just using the side of the brush to just get that detail. I suppose like a wet dry brush, I guess. Just trying to pick up, you can see, trying to just pick up the follicles, the hair follicles, and get that grey on them. Yeah, distinguished gent. Pity he's nuts. I'm going to be doing some metallics on his sword as well, on the hilt and on the blade. And a good tip is to have 2 jars of water, one for your regular paints and one for your metallics, so you don't get your metallics and your regular paints sort of mixed. So I'm using Sycorax Bronze, I guess, I don't know, a weird name. But obviously, I'm not going to go all the way to gold on the hilt, because I want it to kind of look old, you know, and uncared for. So I'm probably going to go with a wash over it. Probably Agrax Earthshade, which is like a brownish sort of wash. Make it look a bit sort of aged. You know, this is not a great sword. This is not the sort of a champion. Right, this is the sort of some old dude who really shouldn't be in the City of the Damned, but no one can make him go home. And I just dropped the model, that's pretty professional. No one can make him go home. They've tried, but he just pulls rank on them because he's their uncle. For the blade I'm just using just silver, which is pretty simple, you know. It's a Vallejo one, Vallejo silver, but you know, GW makes some pretty good silvers. I just like the Vallejos. I think they last a bit longer. I add a little bit of water to the metallics. I don't generally add a lot of water to metallics, and you know, you could use sort of all sorts of different stuff, I suppose. I'm just going to sort of roughly do this. It's got a nice sort of chipped sort of edge to it. Obviously, there's a lot of fighting in the City of the Damned, Mordheim. That's pretty good. I'm not minding that. Probably going to give his flesh a bit of a go. I'll just pause the video for a sec.